Bearcat fans, welcome to another edition of This Week in Bearcat Athletics. Well, another win at Arrowhead Stadium for Northwest Missouri State. The women's soccer team picks up 2 big road wins, and the Northwest women's volleyball team still in the top 20. More on all that coming up on This Week in Bearcat Athletics. Northwest Missouri State's football team played one of its best games of the season last Saturday, beating Central Missouri 42-17 in a return to Arrowhead Stadium. Phil Jackson led a strong rushing attack for the Cats, finishing with 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. Alone, Jackson outgained the Mules' team total of 84 yards rushing. George Seal and Jordan Grove each had 5 catches to help with a balanced attack for Northwest that had the team rushing for 204 yards and gaining 284 yards through the air. Bearcat head coach Adam Dorrell says while there is still more to work on, last Saturday's game was the most complete game for his team this season.
Yeah, I think so. I thought we played well in all 3 phases. Obviously, we still made some mistakes, but just from a physicality standpoint, execution standpoint, playing against a quality opponent, yeah, I would certainly say it's the best game we've played all year. I was excited for our kids, proud of our kids. We got rid of those pre-snap penalties that have haunted us for 4 weeks. So anytime your kids can do that in a big venue like that, I think it says something about their focus. And it started that week in practice. So just very pleased. I thought our guys played with a very physical nature. I thought we out-physicaled our opponent for 60 minutes. And really towards the end of the game, I thought our conditioning took over. And, the amount of people that we're playing right now, I thought that really showed Saturday late in that game. So just very pleased with our kids, especially our seniors, and their focus and the week of preparation we had.
This week, Northwest will travel south to face Central Oklahoma in Edmond, and Dorrell says the Broncos are a much better team than their 1-4 record indicates.
The other thing is just the style of play that they play with, their physicality. If you look at their offense and defensive lines, it will be the best offense and defensive lines we've seen this year. We're really going to get tested up front. And I think once you see that immediately, I think it really grabs your kids' attention. And so we're looking for another great week of practice, but it can be challenging.
The Bearcats will be looking for the team's 21st straight win Saturday with kickoff set for 2 o'clock. Despite suffering its first loss of the season last week, the Northwest volleyball team has moved up to 18th in this week's AVCA coaches poll. The Cats started the weekend with an exciting 5-set win over Pittsburg State on the road Friday night before dropping a match at Central Oklahoma Saturday. UCO is ranked 10th in this week's national poll. Tuesday night, the Bearcats traveled to Missouri Western and swept the Griffins to move their record to 16-1 this season, 4-1 in the MIAA. In a match, Miranda Foster had 12 kills, Sarah Danatel had 27 assists, and Olivia Nowakowski 13 digs to help lead Northwest. The Cats will wrap up their 7-game road swing with matches at Lindenwood Friday and at Central Missouri Saturday. Northwest's cross-country teams ran in the Arkansas Chili Pepper Invitational last weekend in a huge field. The men were a part of a 65-team field that included 18 Division I teams. The men finished 6th in the Division II section and beat 11 of the 18 Division I teams that were in the field. Nolan Zimmer and Braden Clues-Proctor ran close again last week, with Zimmer taking 9th and Clues-Proctor 10th, 2 seconds apart. On the women's side, Northwest finished 17th, with Sammy Lorenzo, the highest individual finisher, taking 36th place. Cross-country head coach Scott Lorick says the huge event was a great experience for both of his teams.
We had a really great weekend overall, and one of the things we really kind of talked about is we want to go into this meet being very, very competitive, but not putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, not worrying about running against the ranked teams or things like that, and just kind of be loose and just have fun and have our intensity real high and get after it. And I think we did that really well. So our trick from here on out is to try to maintain that when we get into meets that, where the points really count and it means for, certain standings and rankings, things like that, and still try to approach it the same way, because what we did this last weekend certainly works for us.
The Cats will be right back at it again this week when they travel to Romeoville, Illinois to be a part of the Lewis Crossover Invitational. The Northwest women's golf team took 2nd in a rain-shortened Augustana Invitational this week. The event was held at Minnehaha Country Club in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the Cats shot a .322 as a team on day 1, with day 2 canceled because of wet weather conditions. Gia Sapanzik finished in a tie for fourth for the Cats individually, shooting a 77. The Cats will host their next event Monday and Tuesday as part of the Bearcat Ball Classic. The Bearcat soccer team had a successful start to a 4-game road swing with a 3-0 win at Southwest Baptist and a 1-0 win at Missouri Southern last weekend. It was the first time this season Northwest has had back-to-back shutouts, and it was the team's third blanking of an opponent this year. The Cats will have 2 more on the road this week before getting back home. They travel to Fort Hays State Friday and then Nebraska Kearney on Sunday. The Bearcat tennis teams finished out the fall portion of their schedules at the ITA Regionals in Oklahoma City last weekend. 2 Bearcats were able to reach the semifinal round on the men's side, and 1 woman reached the round of 16 in the tournament. The teams will now be off until the spring season begins. That's This Week in Bearcat Athletics. For producer Andrew Sherry, I'm Matt Gorder.